Tonight, Broken Hill Council closes a number of facilities in response to the coronavirus outbreak, and Port Lincoln High School set for a major renovation.
With the latest from around the region, your nightly news with John Hunt begins now.
Good evening. Broken Hill City Council closed 5 of its busiest buildings today as it continues to prepare for the spread of coronavirus. The shutdown means all face-to-face services at the facilities will cease for 30 days.
There's no confirmed cases of COVID-19 in Broken Hill, and City Council want to keep it that way.
We're doing everything we possibly can, and it's evolving so quickly. I'm certainly, from my perspective, would much rather have people say I've overreacted than I've underreacted.
From this afternoon, face-to-face services at the city's library, art gallery, Geo Centre, archives and visitor information centre will all be suspended for 30 days. The facilities effectively closed to the public.
For council, we know that the community congregate in these areas, so we need to be responsible and put a position in place early before, it's too late.
For buildings like the visitor centre, locals and tourists will still be able to access information through websites and phone calls.
Get the same information, the same levels of service that they've come to expect from us as an organisation, but we just won't be doing it in a face-to-face manner at the moment.
Local readers will still be able to check out books from the local library through their online registry. Unfortunately, for those looking to visit the regional art gallery or Geo Centre, they'll just have to wait.
There are greater numbers. It's in an enclosed area. At times we're up to 100 very easily. Sometimes 300. As the legislation's change, you can't have more than 100.
For more information or to access online services, visit the Broken Hill City Council website. Patrick Reinke, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Food Service Fred's Van is preparing to axe its operations across regional South Australia in response to the coronavirus outbreak. The announcement set to leave hundreds of people questioning where they'll get their next meal. Nathan Rector has more.
It's here at Port Lincoln's Catholic Church where once a week many of the town's vulnerable swarm to for a warm meal and shelter. But that's soon about to change. 7 Spencer Gulf News understands Food Service Fred's Van is set to scrap all regional operations from this weekend as health concerns continue to escalate amidst the coronavirus outbreak. More than 500 meals are prepared by the service each week, providing a warm dinner for those experiencing or at risk of homelessness. The charity also provides clothes, blankets and social connection for those living rough. But from this weekend, it's understood anyone who arrives at Port Lincoln's church on Sunday for the charity service will now be met with closed doors. It's believed the decision has been made in the interests of its more than 500 volunteers across South Australia. Despite regional services being axed, we understand it's a different story in Metro, with Fred's Van's main operation in the heart of Adelaide set to remain open. The company did not respond to requests for comment before deadline. Anyone in desperate need for food is encouraged to get into contact with a local St Vincent de Paul store.
$715 million has been handed to the nation's airlines. However, Regional Express say it's not enough, warning they may have to make some changes to ensure they can continue to fly. Laura Milovanovic has more.
Regional Express have welcomed the package. However, they're calling on the government to guarantee loans to help them at this time and not force services to be grounded. Without these loans, Rex say it'll have an impact on the way we fly in regional South Australia.
We anticipate that our passenger numbers will drop by 40 to 50% as a consequence of the coronavirus epidemic, and there's no point flying empty planes around.
Rex are responsible for almost 60 flights per week from Adelaide to Port Augusta, Whyalla and Port Lincoln. However, these services may now be restricted.
Where we continue a service, it'll just be less convenient. You won't have the same ability to, say, fly to Adelaide first thing in the morning and be back at home, early afternoon on the same day.
The company warns that a lack of services could cause major delays and cut off local communities.
Places like Broken Hill, for example, we're the only airline that operates to Broken Hill. If Rex was to withdraw from Broken Hill, it's a 16-hour drive from Broken Hill to Sydney. So people will be very inconvenienced if we cut out our service.
It is not yet known where these services will be put on hold. However, these changes will remain in place until normal services are resumed.
Woolworths is urging shoppers to only buy what they need, as goods are being stripped from shelves across the country. The retail giant now introducing new limits on the amount of goods each customer can buy, applying a £2 per customer per transaction limit on nearly every packaged item in store. Woolworths reassuring the public it doesn't have a supply issue, but rather a demand issue. They say they're currently supplying products at a rate of 50 million Australians instead of the usual 24.5 million. Health workers are being encouraged to complete an online coronavirus course, which has been offered by the Federal Health Department. The infection control training module focuses on how to limit the spread and how to protect yourself and patients from infection. The 30-minute course covers signs and symptoms, preventative measures and myths. To register, visit the COVID-19 training website. And a reminder, if you need information or suspect you've had contact with coronavirus, please call the national toll-free hotline on 1-800-020-080. Information's also available at the SA Health, New South Wales Health and Federal Health websites. Those links are on our Facebook page. Still to come tonight, a Port Lincoln school set for a multi-million-dollar upgrade. And new jobs for the Mid-North as construction begins on an abattoir near Port Pirie. Welcome back. Port Lincoln High School has been selected as one of 5 schools across South Australia to receive a multi-million-dollar cash injection. The fund's set to help redevelop key facilities and help prepare the school for Year 7 transition in 2022.
Bigger classrooms and more learning spaces. They're just 2 of several new developments on the horizon for Port Lincoln High School as part of a government grant.
We've been lucky enough to get access to $15 million worth of funding for a building redevelopment.
The cash injection is part of the government's rollout of more than $37 million in funds for projects across 5 South Australian schools.
New canteen and home ec facility, new arts facility, and that also includes an annex for the special school students as well to access mainstream high school facilities.
The splash of cash is set to help increase the school's capacity and prepare it for the Year 7 transition into high school in 2022.
We have to be ready for Year 7 move, obviously with our student capacity needing to increase, so the project is on time to be completed December 2021.
An extra 260 students and 20 full-time staff members are expected to be working at the school as part of the move. The first bulldozer set to roll in August.
We've been in consultation with architects based in Adelaide, and we've got some plans that are now going to go to a builder, and when the builder's name is announced, we'll be working closely with them.
Nathan Rector, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Port Pirie's $72 million abattoir is a step closer to reality, with construction commencing this week. Pirie Meat CEO says they're also eager to get the ball rolling with employment opportunities.
Technical core drills to finalise the design of the abattoir. This land soon to be an industrial hub pumping revenue for the region.
It's really the green light to move forward with the project. That stimulates everything, investment and other activities and final design, and this is really so important for us now.
The state government backing the project, with Premier Stephen Marshall sending his well wishes to the event. Local leaders also say it will be a much needed boost for the town following the current crisis.
I've noticed that the Premier has also given some kind words of reassurance to Reg's project today as well, so that's just fantastic to see that the state government's behind it.
Cost saver for transportation costs for the producers themselves, when the growers, where they have to take it down right past down to Adelaide. It's another 300 k's from here.
Construction of the facility is anticipated to commence by July.
Take about 9 months. It'll look like it's complete really from the outside, but there'll be a lot happening inside. And we've got to get the people trained as well, so we'll start the training process and start recruitment obviously well before.
And finding workers won't be a difficult task, with the company saying eager locals are already reaching out.
Obviously expressions of interest after the jobs fair here in Port Pirie, which was great. Trying to keep people informed, but I think active advertising for jobs won't take place until later in the year.
Shari Hams, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
The Port Augusta Cultural Centre has joined the list of facilities impacted by the coronavirus. They've had to shut their doors for at least 10 weeks, postponing a range of exhibitions.
A halt for arts in Port Augusta. The Cultural Centre, usually filled with an array of artworks, will now have blank walls until May 31.
Sadly, we've had to postpone a lot of our exhibitions.
The signs are inside and the seats sit empty, with the building usually attracting bustling crowds.
We have tourists coming through, we have our volunteers who are elderly, so they could be at a vulnerable stage.
As a place for artists to showcase their work in the community, the closure is impacting some. A Victorian artist was scheduled to have his work put up in the gallery next month.
He's arranged accommodation, travel and everything to get here, and he did all that last year, so just hoping that he will be able to get his refund if he can't come.
However, with the closure, artists are being urged to not put down the paintbrush.
Hopefully so that we can get some of the artwork up on the wall so people can embrace and enjoy the creativity of the different artists that we have in Port Augusta and the surrounding areas.
And while it's a testing time, the community is being encouraged to remain positive.
Port Augusta has been seen a lot of changes, and usually as a community we bounce back, and so I think that's the message that we can give out to everyone.
Laura Milovanovic, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Stay with us. Broken Hills Ag Fair cancelled due to the worldwide pandemic, and concerns raised over a proposed fish farm near Whyalla. Broken Hills Biannual Agriculture Field Day Ag Fair is the latest local event to be cancelled due to the coronavirus. Organisers saying it'll be over a year before the next one is held.
It only happens every 2 years, but the next Broken Hill Ag Fair will now be 3 years in the making.
It was a tough decision, mate. We had a meeting on Tuesday night, and it was a decision of the committee that we postpone Ag Fair until 2021.
Ag Fair is a dry agricultural field day held at the Broken Hill Racecourse biennially. It brings hundreds of graziers, farmers, exhibitors and Silver City locals together to check out all sorts of goods and equipment for town and country purposes. But as restrictions on mass gatherings are put into place to quell the spread of coronavirus, organisers had to pull the pin.
Crown Lands sent us some correspondence saying that all Crown Lands events held on Crown Lands over 500 people were to be cancelled effective immediately.
These aerial shots from the 2018 Ag Fair show just how big the event is. Over the 2-day show, there can be thousands of people moving around the venue. Organisers say with a lot of planning required, it's better to cancel it now than be too late.
We have got lots of exhibitors that travel from away. They've all been very good. They've all been understanding of the events and are keen to come back next year.
A new date for the 2021 Ag Fair will be finalised soon. Patrick Reinke, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Recreational fishers in the Upper Spencer Gulf say they have concerns around Clean Sea's proposed fish farm at Point Lowly Marina near Whyalla. Recfish delegate Alan Hall told the Whyalla News that fish escaping the pens could eat cuttlefish eggs and younglings, which aggregate in the area. Over 2,000 kingfish escaped from Fitzgerald Bay Fish Farm in 2003, when the company last operated in the region, eating cuttlefish eggs at the peak of the breeding season. A decision on whether the project goes ahead will be made later this month. Our local cinemas are the latest to feel the impact of the COVID-19 outbreak. Cinema Augusta has been forced to cut its opening hours. With 10 movies delayed for release on the big screen, the cinema is only able to operate 3 days a week. Meanwhile, the Middleback Arts Centre in Whyalla has closed its doors until further notice. Mid-North towns are suffering devastating impacts amid event cancellations across the region. The Laura Fair organisers are counting their losses, with more than 15,000 people missing out on heading along.
Event cancellation chaos. The Laura Fair, another victim to the coronavirus. These boxes full of merchandise will now go unopened.
Just no choice as to what we had to do, and that was to cancel the Laura Fair.
It's estimated it'll cost the region economy over $1 million. Organisers say the repercussions will create a ripple effect in the town, with many businesses relying on fair visitors.
It's not just the fair itself, it's all the accommodation, the people that come to stay, and it's further to the state because we have over 100 stallholders that come to the event.
However, they're still optimistic that next year's event will be bigger and better, saying these items will be reused.
This year isn't completely wasted. We're all right, already over halfway prepared for next year's event.
Meanwhile, in Port Pirie, council events have also hit the chopping block.
If you go to our local website, it'll actually have a pull through in different colours. So you actually just click on one, it'll show what events have been cancelled.
Along with new rules for visitors to stay a safe distance from staff while visiting the office.
So you'll notice as you come into the front area that there's a line drawn of how far and close we can go. That's under the federal guidelines.
Shari Hams, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Stay with us after the break. We find out what's biting in the Spencer Gulf. And Alex Sykes will have the latest weather forecast. Hello again. 2 Spencer Gulf cricket associations have cancelled their grand finals this weekend due to the ongoing concerns of coronavirus. Both Port Lincoln and Port Pirie's grand finals were supposed to be played this Saturday, but the increasing threat forced the local associations to act in the best interest of their community.
In many ways, it wasn't a hard decision. It was a decision that we would have liked not to have made, but with recommendations coming down from Cricket Australia and SACA, there was no choice.
The cancellations mean the season's minor premiers will be crowned champions. Meanwhile, Port Augusta Netball faces a late start to its season, with players to be kept off court until June. Time for a look at what's biting in the Spencer Gulf this weekend. Here's our fishing experts with their tips.
Look, another week around the Gulf Fishing Tips. I am so looking forward to this particular weekend because there's 2 options. You can go out crabbing on a Sunday afternoon, go out and chase a few yellowfin whiting, but you can also enjoy a cricket match that's been proposed to be out on Cockle Spit. In the middle of the ocean, we're going to have a cricket match this coming Sunday. So if you're out and about having a look at fishing or crabbing and so forth, just have a look over towards Cockle Spit. There's bites moored up there. Depending on the wind and all that sort of stuff, there'll be a cricket match. No better place to go and to socialise, and you have all that beautiful fresh air around you.
G'day and welcome to this week's Fishing Tips from Port Augusta, Jewel North. Well, the world's certainly been turned on its head. If you want to get isolated, there's no better place to do that than go out and fishing. Crabs are still there, lots of crabs. They're big and full of meat. And there's those lots of little ones down on the shoreline too, so that's also good to go and have a bit of a look at. You can go out and get a nice feed of razorfish. They're certainly there. Salmon up and around the creeks. There's also been a couple of big flathead getting caught. Actually, a couple of big monster King George whiting. I'm not sure where they were, but I'll be trying over in the Flinders Channel, to the south end of that. And no squid of yet, but they shouldn't be too far away. That's all we have from the Jewel of the North.
G'day and welcome to Fishing Tips in Port Lincoln. We'll start locally, and most boats have been getting a good feed when they're fishing in the bay at the moment. There's been quite a few garfish around, a few snook and a few squid. For the land-based fisher, Murray's Point has a few garfish at the moment, and most of the local jetties are producing a few squid. Not big numbers, but enough for a feed. There's still a few crabs around at the moment, especially in Proper Bay and in Spalding. Moving up to Tumby Bay, the group has been producing some really good sized whiting of late and some good sized snook out that way too. Good luck to the boats competing in the Riviera Tuna Shootout competition this weekend, and we'll see you again with more fishing tips next week.
To the weather, and we're set for a cool change tomorrow to bring relief from hot conditions. Here's Alex Sykes with the details.
Thanks, John, and good evening. It was hot and windy today in most parts. Port Augusta reached 39 degrees, Whyalla 38, Port Lincoln partly cloudy and 29, Broken Hill reached 35, Port Pirie was sunny and 37, and it was 32 degrees in Adelaide. On the satellite, and there's some cloud over western and southern parts of South Australia, but it's not producing any rain. Skies are otherwise clear. On the waters tomorrow, west to southwest winds 10 to 15 knots, seas reaching 1.5 metres, and sunrise is at 7:18 with sunset at 7:26. Cooler conditions for the region tomorrow. Port Augusta set for a top of 26 degrees, Whyalla 24, Port Lincoln and Coffin Bay both cloudy and 23, Woodner 27, Quorn and Port Pirie both 26 degrees, Broken Hill sunny and 29, Clare, Cleve and Kadina partly cloudy and 24, Adelaide will reach 23 degrees. Looking ahead to the next 4 days, partly cloudy in Port Lincoln over the weekend and into the new week, 23 Saturday, 21 Sunday and Monday. Cleve expecting 23 Saturday, cloudy and 20 Sunday and 21 on Monday. And it's looking partly cloudy for Woodner, 26 Saturday, 25 Sunday and 23 on Monday. Whyalla partly cloudy for the next 4 days, 23 Saturday and Sunday, 22 Monday. Port Augusta will be mild and partly cloudy, 27 Saturday, 25 on Sunday and Monday. And in Kadina, it'll be partly cloudy and 24 degrees right through until Monday. Some cloud in Port Pirie, a top of 26 Saturday, 25 Sunday and Monday. A bit cooler in Clare, reaching a top of 23 degrees on Saturday, 21 Sunday and Monday. And it'll be dry and sunny in Broken Hill over the weekend. 28 Saturday, 26 Sunday, partly cloudy and 25 on Monday. And that's all for tonight's weather. John, it's back to you.
Thanks, Alex. And that's the local news this Thursday evening. Thanks for joining us. I'll have updates later, but until then, enjoy your evening. On behalf of the entire news team, it's good night.